Okay. And then I'm going to leave after. Go try to make some money after this call.
I love you.
I love you too.
Can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I heard you have a legal issue on your hands.
Well, kind of, but it goes deeper than that. May I explain?
Sure.
Bottom line is, the neighbors who have ties with the town of Gibsonville, use their connections with the police to harass me. On one of these encounters, I was walking up my driveway with my daughter. Gibsonville officer William Brennan came up to me and asked me why I had run home because I just spoken to him at the park while looking for my wife because she hadn't got there. He didn't see her, so I was like, cool. So my friend that was watching her went home, and so he had drove by my house, and then he asked me why I run. So I was like, hey, I had to get home to my daughter. And then he asked me if my wife and I were arguing. Now, arguing is not a crime, even if that were the case. I declined to answer his questions because I could tell he was fishing. And so I turned my back, and as I was turning, I could see he's visually irritated, but I didn't expect anything to happen. But as I turned my back, he came up and tried to handcuff me. So, and then when I pulled away asking why he was doing this, he pulled his gun out on me. This is all on video, by the way. He pulled his gun out on me and ordered me to the porch. So, basically, I was allowed to put my daughter inside, and then closing the door, he tried to handcuff me again. And I again said, why are you putting your hands on me? He didn't tell me. He just was trying to hand me up. Then other officers arrived shortly. They take me to jail. So because I pulled away, they deemed that as an assault, which by definition it wouldn't be an assault. So then I was taken to the police cruiser. My wife came walking by. She got home a little while after, and they wanted to know, were you and your husband arguing? So we did have a small disagreement, like hours. I want to repeat this. Hours prior, we had a small disagreement. So we were confused as to why the police were now being called hours later. So my wife was like, "Yeah, we had an argument, but it was good. It was nonviolent." I was taken to the Gibsonville substation where they had me handcuffed for like an hour and a half, and then I was taken to the Alamance County Jail where they made me walk through a bloody jail cell, and the neighboring cell, a lady peed on the floor. They thought it would be funny to make me walk through that piss puddle. So after that, I got my written promise to appear. I walked home. I filed a complaint with the assistant police chief, Rebecca Dixon. So she disregarded my concerns and blocked me on Facebook. Also, proof of that is on YouTube. She blocked me on Facebook. So during the first trial, I hired Don Dickerson. Don Dickerson personally admitted, he didn't know it was being recorded. It's also on YouTube. He admitted that the police were not called to my house and that the officer they fabricated a reason to arrest me. He admitted this, but yet he would not testify to this in court. And so during court, this is the first trial. Leading up to it, I reached out to the town manager, Ben Baxley, about my concerns. He threatened me with harassment charges instead of investigating my claims. So, during this ordeal, the judge, despite the fact of the matter is, the officer didn't have a warrant to be because he was on my property, and I'm awarded like different circumstances. B, there was no criminal reason for him to detain me in the first place, because in order to be able to detain somebody, you have to have reasonable suspicion. None of that existed, and yet I was arrested anyways. So then, after the appeal, I started reaching out to people. One of the people that I reached out to was Jeffrey Smythe. He's also friends with Ron Parrish, which I didn't know till after the investigation, till after my trial. I reached out to Dennis Rydell, also friends with Ron Parrish. Amy Rydell, I don't know if she's friends with Ron Parrish, but I do know she's friends with some of the people that had declined to investigate. So basically, I talked to my lawyer. My lawyer was John Cox. He personally came to my house and saw the residence, and this is going to be very important.
Yeah.
He came to my house and he saw everything, and I had described to him how the neighbors had been using their connections with the police to harass me. He didn't seem to care, and I could already tell what was going on. So during the preliminary hearing, so I discovered that also friends of the police, also on YouTube, they had gotten somebody that wasn't even there, his son and somebody else, to lie and say that I assaulted the police officer. Now, mind you, this is all on camera. One of the things the guy said was that he lived across the street. So remember, I told you the lawyer came, and nobody lives across the street. There's an empty shed across the street. But like, my lawyer did not cross-examine the witnesses, even though my wife and several other people were trying to urge him to. John Cox. So Mary Williams, the ADA, the prosecutor, the assistant, she knew he was lying because some of the stuff that he was saying was contradicted on video, and this witness wasn't present during the first encounter. It was this false witness. So like all the stuff, he's like, there are multiple kids running around. I have 2 kids. There was only 1 kid out, and I was with this kid. The other one was asleep, and I have witnesses to confirm this. He also said some other stuff that was contradicted by the footage and testimony. So because my lawyer was refusing to advocate for me properly, I pled to an obstruction charge, even though I know I'm not guilty of that. So I pled under duress, meaning because I knew I was having an unfair trial. In both cases, I filed complaints against these attorneys. And in both cases, I had significant evidence to prove ethically. First of all, John Cox, being friends with Ron Parrish, is a conflict of interest, and he didn't disclose that with me. I wouldn't have hired him had I known that. Secondly, he didn't challenge the testimony. Thirdly, I texted him about false witnesses. It's all on YouTube. The bar found that he violated nothing, that he didn't do anything wrong. But you would think as an attorney, it was his obligation to tell me these things. Also, he didn't tell me about the witnesses coming forth, which would have been easily, disputed. And then I know I'm rambling a little bit, but one of the things played was Jeffrey Weiss, who was one of the liars, saying all this stuff that was completely incorrect. My wife, all these other witnesses knew he was lying, and when we tried to urge the lawyer to challenge it, nothing was said. So after that, which this reminds me, I filed a complaint against Jeff Reese for lying. I filed it in civil court, and I sued him for $10,000. So the case was dismissed. So Magistrate David Crabb was the magistrate that dismissed it. He refused to review the evidence, hear the witness testimony, or anything. So they just outright dismissed it. He let the attorney talk and not me. So, and I tried to file a complaint against him. I called Alamance County, and they kept hanging up on me. And then finally, they directed me to the magistrate's number. The magistrate I called, and I spoke with Magistrate Hunter, who kept trying to give me incorrect information. And then when I corrected her, she was trying to tell me it was a federal judge. I'm like, it wasn't a federal judge. She hung up on me. I tried to call back about 5 or 6 times before giving up. And then I filed a complaint against her. I was eventually able to get the right number to call, which you can't actually talk to anybody, which is fair. So I emailed, and they're telling me, so they were trying to turn it around me. Well, you kept calling. She's going to call 911 on you. And I'm like, yes, I kept calling because she kept hanging up on me, wanting to answer my questions. She was intentionally not trying to help me. And with David Crabb, they were like, well, you can file an appeal. And I'm like, why should I have to file an appeal when I wasn't given a fair trial in the first place? And so this is what I've been going through. And then the cousin, Jeff Reese's cousin, had basically took a restraining order out on me. She lied and said a bunch of stuff. They gave this order to her. No proof of anything. She's talking about I stalk her family and stuff. First of all, I work 15 hours a day. I don't have time to worry about her and her family. And she's called CPS on me and made all these stuff about my kids. And every time they've come, they determined like nothing was wrong. And so we've been dealing with a corrupt court system, a corrupt legal system, and all I've been trying to do is get justice. And every time we try to like get any help, we're met with these roadblocks. And I've reached out to the Attorney General Josh Stein. When he was the Attorney General, I reached out to him. I filed many complaints. I filed complaints against these judges. I'll give you a tidbit of information. So the judge from the first trial, Judge Champion, he stepped down and became I forgot what it's called, but basically when you can't afford to pay for an attorney, then you go to these people and they give you one. The supervisor.
The bail bond type thing, like that kind of thing?
They do.
Or
Yeah, the supervisor of that.
Yeah.
So he is.
Okay, yeah.
So they wouldn't. So that's how he got out of being like investigated. The other attorney, the prosecutor, who was trying to give me all this bad, who was doing all this, who was there. I filed complaints against her. So I forgot what her name is, but like it's a you're allowed to complain about the government, and like I filed a complaint because she was like, well, you can't if you contact anybody outside, we're gonna arrest you, and that's illegal. And so nothing was done, and I'm like, I've been doing all
Can I tell
this.
you a little bit about how, or just a little bit more information about what our office can and can't do?
Well,
So,
just give me a second to finish.
okay,
I know a little bit about what you can do. I don't know everything, but
okay,
I do know that you have the ability to to basically ask somebody to do an investigation. I know that's for sure. I know that's you can't oversee it, but I've looked into it before I
we
called.
we do not. I'm sorry, sir. We do not have the ability to ask anyone to investigate any kind of criminal or legal matter because we don't have the authority because the Committee on Ethics
Mm.
has guidelines for what we can and can't do, and we are not allowed to submit anything or put inquiries on anything that is a legal matter in the court system.
So let me ask you this question:
Sure. Yeah.
if this goes on YouTube, would that be factually correct, or would you be wrong?
Are you saying about what I'm saying?
Yeah, because
Or you're asking me?
I'm recording this whole
Okay, that's
conversation,
okay.
and
Is
the reason being is because I've contacted Amy Gailey, I've contacted Dennis Rydell, and I know specifically those two people have the ability to request investigation. And when I looked it up, also it's that Congress people have the ability to look to basically put pressure or whatever. So I everyone that I've called, Ted Budd, um, all all these people I've called, and so now I'm just recording everything just to cover myself. This will be going on YouTube, by the way, but I'm trying to get help. So who can I call? Because all the people that you're probably gonna tell me, I've already called, and the main problem is they're friends with Ron Parrish or they're friends with some corrupt individual.
mm-hmm. Well, okay. So because we are not allowed to interfere with anything that is currently in the court system,
Mm,
and I apologize. That is the guidelines that we're given by the Committee on Ethics of the U.S.
yeah,
House of
it's
Representatives.
already been done.
Um, uh, is we recommend that because it is a private legal matter to seek a private attorney. And I know you had a previous attorney, and or I'm not sure what your current relationship to the attorney is,
It's
but to
concluded.
seek private legal counsel about that matter.
So the whole matter has concluded. Everything's
Mm-hmm.
concluded. And so some
Yeah.
of the stuff that I described has occurred after the legal proceedings, the complaints against the attorneys.
Yes.
So
And
everything that you're suggesting, that all costs money. So that's the issue. So it's like, what am I supposed to do as the victim of this? Because there's other people dealing with this, and so you guys tell us to go through these legal channels, and part of the problem is human corruption everywhere.
mm-hmm.
And so it's like,
Yeah.
how do I tell my daughter, who had a gun pointed at a loaded pistol pointed at her by the very people that were supposed to protect her? How do I tell her this? Like, I literally lost over $500,000 fighting this case. And what I mean is paying for attorneys, because I'm not poor.
Yeah.
I have less money than I did before, but I don't have the money to do all these things. And to be honest, I should not have to fight against a corrupt ass
Yes.
government when this is not my fault, and I'm the innocent one.
Yeah.
So what do you recommend?
No, I understand. So what we are allowed to do, because what I'm looking at our manual now, and it says our office cannot handle cases that are in litigation, and we cannot offer legal advice or legal referrals, but we can refer you to the North Carolina State Bar. But as far as our authority to oversee particular, for like you said, the Gibsonville, I believe you said Gibsonville
I
Police Department. Is that right?
I just want an I just want you. This is what let me be clear about what I'm seeking, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's been made, or maybe I want somebody to investigate the department. And from what I've
The police
read,
department?
yes, from what I've read, that you guys have the ability to do that. And so,
We do not
like,
have the ability to do that. I'm sorry, sir. We don't have the ability to investigate a municipal
Not
That would
you.
be handled by that government.
Not you.
By the Gibsonville or that government authority.
So
We
not
don't have
you.
the ability to
So
oversee municipal or state government.
So not Fauci specifically, but she has the
Yeah.
ability to make the calls for somebody to look